Welcome to Listen and Learn English. Most English learners think they must translate every word in their heads before speaking. They pause, hesitate, and feel trapped in their own thoughts. But real fluency does not come from translation. Real fluency comes from thinking in English, naturally, effortlessly, without stopping to convert every sentence. This is the secret that most learners never discover, and it can make all the difference. We all know the feeling. You want to speak. You know the words. But the moment you open your mouth, your mind is busy translating. Slow, clumsy, unsure. You feel frustrated. You feel embarrassed. You wonder if you will ever speak confidently. That struggle is real, and it is holding you back. Imagine two paths. One path is translation. It is slow. It is confusing. Your mind chases your words like a shadow, always a step behind. The other path is thinking directly in English. Words flow, sentences appear naturally, you speak freely, and your mind feels lighter. The choice is not about talent. It is about training. In this video, we will explore how to train your mouth and your mind to think in English, not translate. You will learn small, practical habits that change the way your brain works. You will see how to stop hesitating. You will discover how to speak with confidence, even if mistakes happen. This is not just about English. It is about freedom. Freedom from fear, doubt, and endless hesitation. By the end of this journey, you will understand why translation slows you down and how to break free. You will feel empowered to think directly in English, to express yourself fully, and to enjoy the process of speaking. Every word you speak will feel lighter, faster, and more natural. But first, we must understand why translation is holding you back, why your mind clings to your native language, and why this habit keeps fluency just out of reach. Once we see the problem clearly, we can discover the path to thinking and speaking freely in English. And that path begins now. Have you ever tried to speak English and felt stuck, even though you knew the words? You think a sentence in your own language first, then, slowly, you try to translate each word into English. It feels heavy, slow, awkward. Every word becomes a little battle. And in the middle of a conversation, your mind races to keep up. You pause, stumble, and the moment is gone. That pause grows longer, and your confidence shrinks. Let me tell you a story. There was a young learner named Lena. She had studied English for years. She knew grammar rules. She memorized vocabulary. But when she tried to speak with her classmates, she froze. Every sentence began in her mind in her own language. Then, word by word, she tried to translate. Sometimes she got the words wrong. Sometimes she forgot them. Other students spoke faster, smoother. Lena felt embarrassed. She felt behind. And slowly, she stopped raising her hand. She stopped sharing her ideas. Her thoughts were trapped behind her own words. This struggle is more common than you think. Many learners feel the same heavy weight of translation. It makes speaking slow. It makes mistakes feel huge. And worst of all, it makes you doubt yourself. You think, maybe I am not good at English. But it is not about ability. It is about a habit your mind has learned, the habit of translating first. Contrast this with someone who thinks directly in English. Words come naturally. Sentences flow without effort. The mind and mouth work together, not in opposition. Conversation becomes easier. Mistakes feel smaller. Confidence grows. Speaking is no longer a struggle. The difference is like walking through a fog versus walking in sunlight. Both paths may lead forward, but one feels heavy and dark. the other clear and free. You might recognize yourself in Lena's story, the hesitation, the fear, the low confidence. Maybe you have stopped trying sometimes. Maybe you feel ashamed to speak aloud. But this is not a permanent state. This struggle is a sign, a signal that your brain is ready for a change. The moment you notice the problem clearly, you can begin to fix it. Understanding this struggle is the first step toward fluency. When you see how translation traps your mind and slows your speech, you start to notice it. You start to catch yourself. You begin to imagine another way, a way of thinking in English, not translating. That is where real transformation begins. Once we see the problem clearly, we can discover the secret behind fluent thinking. The secret that allows learners to speak freely, confidently, and naturally. And that secret is waiting for you just beyond this struggle. Most people think speaking English fluently is only about memorizing words or studying grammar. But the truth is deeper. It's about how your brain processes language. When you translate, your brain takes a long detour. First, it thinks in your mother tongue. Then it searches for the right English word. Then it builds a sentence. This detour slows you down. It makes speaking feel heavy, and it makes mistakes feel bigger than they are. Think of your brain like a busy highway. When you translate, your words take a long, crowded road filled with traffic lights and stop signs. Every word is a delay. But when you think in English directly, your words travel on a fast, smooth highway. Sentences flow naturally. Ideas appear without hesitation. The difference is not magic, it is how the brain works. Neuroscience shows that learning a language builds neural pathways, connections in your brain. Every time you speak, read, or listen, you strengthen these pathways. But translation creates extra loops. Your mind constantly jumps back and forth. Speaking becomes like walking with heavy boots through mud. Thinking directly in English is like walking barefoot on a clear path. It is lighter, faster, and easier to enjoy. You can also imagine your mouth as a muscle. To speak English fluently, your mouth needs practice, just like lifting weights. When you translate, your mouth waits. It is not training properly. But when you think in English, your mouth moves freely. Words and sentences start to feel natural, like a muscle memory forming. The more you train this way, the less your brain interferes. Speaking becomes instinctive. This science also brings relief. You are not slow because you are bad at English. You are slow because your brain is following an inefficient path. It's not your fault. Your mind learned this habit over years of studying and translating. The good news is, habits can change. Neural pathways are flexible. Your brain can build new, faster roads for English thinking. Mistakes will happen, but they are part of the process. They are proof your brain is learning, not failing. Emotionally, understanding this changes everything. Frustration turns into curiosity. Embarrassment turns into motivation. You begin to see that fluency is not about talent. It is about training. It is about building the right pathways and practicing in the right way. Your brain is ready. You just need to guide it. Knowing the science is step one. But the real change happens in practice. Awareness alone will not make your words flow. You must start forming habits, training your mind and mouth to work together. Soon translation will fade, and thinking directly in English will become natural. You will speak faster, more confidently, and with less fear. The next step is all about awareness. noticing when your brain translates, and learning to step off that detour. Awareness is the bridge from understanding the science to actually changing your speech. Once you see how your mind works, you can begin to guide it. Have you ever noticed how your mind works when you try to speak English? Most learners do not. They speak slowly, stumble, and feel unsure, but they do not see why. The first step to change is awareness. Awareness is like a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see the obstacles clearly. You notice where your mind pauses, where translation takes over, and where fear sneaks in. Let me tell you about Daniel. One afternoon, he sat in a small cafe practicing English with a friend. He wanted to tell a story about his weekend. At first, he translated every sentence in his head. He paused, he hesitated, his words came out broken and slow. Then something shifted. He noticed the pause, he noticed his translation. For the first time, he realized, my mind is stopping me. This simple awareness changed everything. He stopped trying to force words. He started thinking in English, describing the scene as it came to his mind. Slowly the words flowed. He felt lighter. He felt alive. That was the moment of awakening. Awareness is not just noticing mistakes. It is noticing patterns. It is seeing how your mind creates barriers. Ignorance keeps you trapped. You stumble, repeat old habits, and feel frustrated. Awareness opens the door. It shows you where translation slows you down. It reveals where confidence is lost. The contrast is clear. Learners who are unaware struggle endlessly. Learners who notice, even a little, gain a small but powerful edge. Once you are aware, you can begin to catch yourself. You start to hear your mind translating. You start to feel the hesitation before words appear. You can pause and choose differently. You can decide to describe directly in English instead of converting from your mother tongue. That pause is not a failure. It is a signal, a moment to step onto a new path. Awareness is the turning point because it changes how you relate to your own mind. You stop fighting yourself. You stop blaming yourself. You begin to observe, to notice, and to guide. From this point, learning is no longer a blind struggle. It becomes intentional. The next step, building habits, takes this awareness and makes it permanent. Without habits, awareness fades. With habits, awareness transforms into fluent thinking, natural speech, and confidence. Awareness alone is not enough. Noticing when your mind translates is powerful, but change happens only when you act. The next step is building small daily habits, tiny actions that train your brain to think in English naturally. These habits may seem simple, but their impact is enormous. They turn awareness into fluency and hesitation into confidence. One habit is shadowing. Listen to a short English sentence, then repeat it aloud immediately. Don't think in your own language. Copy the rhythm, the sounds, the flow. At first, it feels strange. Your mouth hesitates. But over time, your brain begins to match the words with meaning automatically. You are training both mind and mouth, creating muscle memory for English thinking. Another habit is thinking aloud. Describe what you are doing step by step in English. Pour coffee, open a book, walk down the street, say the words as you act. This may feel awkward at first, but it helps your brain link English words directly to actions, bypassing translation. Gradually, your mind starts forming sentences in English naturally without pausing to convert. You can also label objects in your home. Stick small notes on things, table, window, chair. Every time you see them, say the word in English. This constant low-pressure repetition reinforces direct thinking. Over days and weeks, your brain learns to associate ideas and objects with English words immediately, not through translation. Narrating your thoughts is another powerful habit. Instead of planning what to say in your own language, try speaking your ideas directly in English. Tell a friend, or even yourself, about your day. I woke up early. I drank coffee. I went for a walk. These small daily exercises may seem minor, but they build automatic thinking one sentence at a time. Contrast these habits with passive learning. Reading silently or memorizing vocabulary is useful, but it does not train your brain to produce English quickly. Active learning, speaking, narrating, shadowing, forces your mind to act, to create, to think in English. It gives you control, you feel empowered, you begin to see progress even in small steps. Confidence grows, hesitation fades, and translation slowly disappears. With consistent habits, your brain will start to speak English naturally, not translate. Every word becomes lighter, every sentence flows smoother, and speaking no longer feels like a battle. These habits are the bridge between knowing the language and living it, between thinking in your native tongue and thinking directly in English. Learning English is not only about drills and exercises. True fluency comes when you immerse yourself in the language, when English becomes part of your life, not just a subject you study. Immersion allows your brain to absorb patterns naturally. It turns fear into curiosity and hesitation into play. One way to immerse yourself is through shows or videos. Choose simple English content, with subtitles if needed. Watch a scene, then pause and repeat what you heard. Feel the words in your mouth. Notice the rhythm and expression. At first, mistakes will happen. You might mispronounce a word or miss a phrase. That is normal. Mistakes are not failure. They are signs your brain is learning. Reading aloud is another powerful tool. Pick a short story or an article. Speak every sentence clearly, slowly at first, then faster as you get comfortable. Reading aloud trains your mind and mouth to work together. It also helps you connect words with meaning, not translation. You start hearing English as a living language, not just a textbook. Finally, narrate your life in English. Describe what you see, what you feel, or what you do. I am making tea. The sun is shining. I feel happy today. When you link English to your own experience, learning becomes fun. Curiosity replaces fear. Experimenting becomes exciting. You begin to enjoy the process instead of worrying about mistakes. Contrast the old way and the new. Before, mistakes felt shameful. You hesitated. You stayed silent. Now, mistakes become stepping stones. You try, you learn, you improve. Your brain adapts, your confidence grows. Every small experiment teaches your mind that English is safe, expressive, and yours to use. Immersion turns learning into life itself. English is no longer something separate or forced. It is in your shows, your stories, your thoughts. It is around you, and you are part of it. Now, let's see how mistakes become stepping stones, not obstacles. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to speaking English. Many learners stay silent because they worry about saying something wrong. They imagine others judging them. Every sentence becomes a test. Every pause feels like failure. But what if mistakes were not enemies, but teachers? Take the story of Mia. She loved English, but feared speaking. At school, she stayed quiet in class. At work, she avoided conversations with international colleagues. One day, she decided to change. She started speaking, even if she stumbled. She made mistakes. She mispronounced words. She mixed tenses, and slowly, something remarkable happened. She learned faster, she felt freer, and she grew more confident. Contrast this with staying silent. Silence keeps you safe, but trapped. You miss chances to learn, to connect, to express yourself. Bold practice, even with mistakes, is uncomfortable at first, but it is the path to growth. Every error becomes a lesson. Every sentence, even flawed, builds fluency. Emotionally, this shift changes everything. Fear transforms into curiosity. Hesitation turns into courage. Speaking English becomes an act of exploration, not judgment. You start enjoying the process instead of fearing it. The mind stops blocking words, and confidence begins to replace anxiety. When fear is gone, natural thinking begins. Mistakes no longer stop you. Hesitation fades. Words flow. You speak freely without translating, without judgment, without fear. And that is the moment true fluency starts to emerge. Imagine this. You are in a cafe and someone asks, "What do you like to eat?" Instead of pausing to translate, your mind answers instantly. "I like sandwiches and coffee." No hesitation, no struggle. The words flow naturally. That is what thinking in English feels like: quick, light, effortless. Let's look at another example. A friend says, "Tell me about your weekend." Your mind does not go back to your native language. You start speaking directly. "I went to the park. I watched a movie. I cooked dinner for my family." The sentences come easily, almost automatically. Contrast this with translating word by word. Translation slows you down. It makes simple ideas feel heavy. Thinking directly in English is faster, smoother, and more confident. This shift happens gradually. At first, you may still pause or search for words, but with practice and immersion, your brain begins to link ideas directly to English words. You stop saying, "How do I say this?" You start saying what you mean. Your mouth and mind work together as if they are partners in conversation. Emotionally, this is powerful. Confidence grows. You feel capable. Speaking becomes joyful, not stressful. Conversations no longer feel like tests. Instead, they become chances to share, connect, and express yourself fully. Mistakes may still happen, but they no longer stop you. With thinking in English, your speech becomes effortless. Words flow without translating. Confidence replaces hesitation. You begin to experience what it truly means to speak naturally, a step closer to fluency, freedom, and ease in every conversation. Now that you are thinking in English, it is time to use it in real life. Start with small conversations. Talk to a friend, a colleague, or even someone online. Describe your day, your ideas, or what you see around you. Each sentence spoken directly in English strengthens your fluency and builds confidence. Use English at work or school. Send messages, write notes, or explain ideas without translating first. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Your brain begins to connect thoughts and words automatically. Slowly, English stops feeling like a separate task and becomes a natural part of your daily life. Travel is another perfect way to apply your skill. Order food, ask for directions, or chat with locals. Each interaction teaches your mind to respond instantly, without hesitation. Even social media can help. Commenting, posting, or reading aloud in English trains both thought and speech. The reward is powerful. Fluency starts to feel effortless. Speaking is no longer stressful. Confidence grows. Pride builds. Your brain is ready. Now it's time to integrate fully. Every day, in every situation, you can choose to live in English freely and naturally and enjoy the process of learning without fear. You started by translating every word, feeling slow, unsure, and frustrated. Now, you can imagine thinking in English naturally, speaking with confidence, and letting ideas flow freely. This journey is more than language. It is a transformation of your mind. Each habit, each practice, each small step builds not only fluency, but courage, clarity, and self-belief. Remember, mistakes are teachers, not enemies. Speak daily, embrace every error, and trust the process. Your brain is ready, your voice is ready, and your life can be enriched. Keep going, and English will become effortless, just like thinking itself.